So there's been a development in the recent firmware update for the Sony a7 IV. As you might recall, version 6 came out in December of 2025. And when I was about to download the firmware file and update my camera, Sony had just discontinued it only after a few days because a lot of people were having issues with it. Some people were getting their cameras bricked. Let me know if that happened to you in the comments below, or if any of these other issues happened to you when you upgraded to version 6, let me know in the comments below. Other people have issues with the camera entering power save mode just randomly and a bunch of other issues. And it took Sony about a month and a half to come up with this current firmware update, which is firmware 6.01. And I'm going to update my Sony a7 IV to this one. I think we're kind of safe now. It's the next iteration of version 6. I've updated my firmware on my Sony a7 IV in the past pretty much the day or a couple of days after that firmware comes out. I think it was only one time where I had to update maybe a week or 2 weeks after, but I've never had any issues. But there's always that fear or that possibility that your camera will have an issue if you do your update as soon as it comes out. So a good rule of thumb, even for myself, something that I have to learn is to not jump into it right away, but maybe wait a little bit until a 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.112 version comes out for that update. So the way I like to update my firmware is by using the SD card format, and that's the method I've been using all this time, and it's worked for me without any issues, so I'm going to continue to be using that. So if you're using that method, make sure that the SD card you're using is one that you format directly in your camera first, and then use that SD card and copy that firmware update file to the root folder of that memory card, and then update your camera like that. So we'll go over that in just a bit after I update my camera, which I'll let you know in a bit if it works. Hopefully nothing happens to my camera. I'll go over some of the main features that were introduced in firmware 6, which I haven't used yet because I haven't updated to that firmware, but hopefully after this I'm able to show you and some of the new things that they have. One thing that Sony mentions here that I find a little bit confusing is that it says that updates should be installed in chronological order, but it just means that you have to first update to version 1.05 at least. If you're updating from version 1.01, you won't be able to do that. So you have to be on version 1.05 at least, and then from there, go to whatever the new firmware update is. It does not mean that you have to go from 1.05 to version 2, version 3, 4, 5, and then to version 6. So that's not exactly what it means, but I just find it a little confusing when it says chronological order. So one thing to keep in mind. A key thing as well is to use an original Sony battery. If you do not use an original one, you may run the risk of that firmware update not working properly. So go into menu, go all the way down here, setup option, version, we're going to be updating the body, and firmware update. So don't turn off the power or remove the media card. This update may take several minutes and it will automatically reboot when complete. All right, execute. And we'll wait. So it's been a few minutes and the update is now complete. Oh, this is cool. Swiping to the left, right, up calls out the touch function icon and function menu. So let's see. That is pretty cool. So now you're able to call this stuff up like that, or up and down as well. And everything looks a little bit cleaner. So one of the new things we have is under focus area, we now have extra large right here. And now we also have the addition of custom 1, 2, and 3 under focus area if you wanted to further customize that. Also now under shooting display here, grid line display, grid line type, you have now the addition of the golden ratio grid that you can enable. Now when you're in video mode, the audio levels are going to be always there, always on, which is a useful feature to have to make sure that your audio levels aren't peaking. if you're able to see them all the time in video mode. So that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments below which one of these features you're excited to see on the Sony a7 IV. For me, one of the ones that I really enjoy is being able to now access focus mapping on the monitor and control app, which I was not able to do so before. So that's it. And if you're still around, here are a couple more videos you could watch next, and I'll see you there.